Welcome back to the WCSIT and ISDA Loss Control channel. I'm Greg Manuel, Loss Control Manager for the WCSIT and ISDA Risk Management Programs. This summer has brought severe weather, large thunderstorms, and heavy rainfall to much of Illinois. These major weather events should trigger a roof condition and damage inspection by your maintenance staff. We've put together a brief presentation to cover the basic guidelines for the inspection of the most commonly used roof, EPDM, or sometimes referred to as a membrane roof. EPDM roofing exists on most Illinois public schools and is the most commonly used roofing system for both new construction and re-roof projects, so it's highly likely to be on some of your buildings. The inspections I'm going to discuss are applicable to any type of roofing though. Before I talk about inspections, let's go over a quick review of the components and the construction of an EPDM roof. On the left-hand side, we're showing a cutaway example of an EPDM roof. The first layer, which is actually the steel decking, is actually part of the building structure itself. That lies across in here. On top of that steel decking, an EPDM roof and any other type of roofing that uses a membrane construction is going to place a layer of foam substrate, usually about 2 inches thick. This serves two purposes: to insulate the roof and to also give it a level, consistent surface to attach the membrane surface to. This foam is anchored to the steel decking with mechanical fasteners that are not removable. These are pressed in through the steel decking and have a large head to prevent pullout on the top. These are anchored about every square foot you will see an anchor point. I'll show you examples of those. The next step is to apply a layer of adhesive that the EPDM adheres to. Any seam is going to be double lapped and cemented as well. On the right-hand side, we see over here where they're putting down an EPDM roof and they're rolling down the cement for one of the seams. How often should roof inspections be done? Well, the best practice is quarterly. Plan on doing it with each change of season. Regular inspections are necessary to realize the full lifespan of the roof. The basics that you're going to look for are the covering material itself. Be sure that it's weather-tight, it's capable of withstanding the elements, it needs to be sound and free from damage. The attachment, it needs to have no visible wrinkling or lifting. No edges can be pulling loose on it. Penetrations, I'll talk a little bit more about these in a moment, but that's anything that protrudes through the roofing itself, such as ventilation stacks or mechanical connections. And also drainage has to always be checked and be sure that it's clear and unobstructed. Special circumstances that would require a roof inspection would be any severe weather event. You should go on the roof and have your maintenance staff perform a roof inspection. And anytime there's been any rooftop work by a contractor, particularly HVAC or electrical, that's where most contractors, that's the contractor that's most likely to be on your roof. After their work is complete, you should have your maintenance staff perform a brief inspection of the area where they were working to be sure there was no inadvertent damage to it. Here we have examples of two roofs. They're both covered with EPDM membrane. The roof on the left is a flat roof. I want to point out several things on it. Primarily, you can see the anchor points here that are located about every square foot. Those are going through the foam only. Though they don't go through the membrane, but you can see them because they adhere a little bit differently to the bottom surface than it does to the foam, so it does make a little bit of a pattern. On the right-hand side, we can see this is a gable-type low-pitch membrane roof. This material can be used on many different types of roofs. And you can see that it's put on in sections, and you have many different seams that are cemented or adhered in place. These seams are subject to delamination and need to be looked at. They are very durable when they are not disturbed. We want to make sure that they are not delaminated or torn loose, though, so it's important to regularly take a look at the top of your roof surfaces. Leaf accumulation is common and needs to be removed. It's a moisture trap. If it's left unchecked, like we have here, it can lead to further problems like drainage issues or delamination. Now, the photo on the left shows the type of debris that can cause a delaminate or a penetration issue. We have got a concrete stepping stone that has been placed here for people to stand on while they're servicing a piece of equipment. It's placed there to prevent damage to the roof, but instead what happened, this has started to crumble and deteriorate, and it's leaving pieces of gravel and concrete laying on top of the membrane. If someone were to step on this loose piece of broken gravel or concrete, it could puncture the membrane and cause a leak. So that stone should be removed and replaced with a fresh one that's not broken. The photo on the right shows the debris accumulation that's easily removed. Here's an example of covering that's loose from adhesive failure. On the left here, we can see we've got wrinkles that are starting to develop. We can see in the corner where it turns to go up the side wall here, the covering is pulled loose there and is actually rounded. This should be at a 90-degree angle, like the one we see on the right is nearly a 90-degree angle. When it's pulled loose underneath there, that's what's called bridging, and it's starting to come loose. Underneath here, we can see wrinkles forming where it's all starting to come loose underneath here. The problem with loose membrane roof is when the wind comes up and you get into a high wind condition, it can start to flutter and lift, and it causes further delaminations, and in some cases, it'll completely lift it off. The number one cause of a catastrophic failure of an EPDM roof is loose membrane material that's torn off by a high wind. If a small portion comes loose, it can be caught by the storm winds and tear the entire roof off the structure. The right-hand side shows the termination bar on the wall. This is where this ends. The termination bar must be tightly secured at each fastener to provide a good seal. Leakage here will allow water to work its way into the roof substrate and can cause serious problems later. Anything that protrudes through the roof is considered a penetration. Here's some examples. We've got a ventilation stack here. We have electrical conduits that are serving this HVAC unit here. We have several other ventilation stacks. On the right-hand side, we have a scuttle port that's used to access the roof. All of those are considered penetrations, and they're sources where leaks can develop, and they can be found around the flashings and bonded seams in any caulked area. I'm going to give you a couple examples of what to look for. Commonly found problems like failed or missing caulk are what we see in our left-hand example right here. We can see a piece of it's pulling out. We've got corrosion indicating water leakage. We know that there is going to be some degree of water leakage here. On the right-hand side, we see we've got a tear or some other type of damage that has caused a penetration or a void in the membrane here. Also looks like they've attempted to put some type of sealant on it to repair it, and that has likely failed almost immediately. The only way to repair this is to remove this section and have a correct EPDM patch cemented in place. The repair needs to be done by a roof professional. You cannot repair this with a simple sealer. Most of the time, flaws in an EPDM roof can be corrected without roof replacement. EPDM really does lend itself to a lot of cost-effective repairs. Fixing the small items as they're identified is the key to a long roof life. The left-hand photo shows an area of bonding failure that could have possibly been an improper installation. It almost doesn't look like it's overlapped enough, but we can see right here some shrinkage over time possibly has allowed this void to develop. That's unacceptable and needs to be corrected. The right-hand side, we can see we've got another bonding failure right here, and this is with a flashing for a ventilation stack, and we can see that the seam is starting to pull loose at this edge. There again, this can be removed and replaced with a fresh piece. It looks like it may have had 2 repairs done to it here already on 2 of the corners, so it might be time to replace the entire thing. In any case, that is a cost-effective repair to the roof, and it doesn't require a replacement. It's important to know that all flat roofs require drainage. The water has to go someplace, and flat roofs always have drains. The drainage needs to be inspected and kept clear. It's vital for the roof to function properly. On the left-hand side, we have got a drain basin that has accumulated enough dirt that it's starting to support plant growth. It cannot effectively serve as a roof drain. It's also why we see silt accumulating on the roof around here, because when you get rain, water will pond up around this drain. It can't effectively drain, and this is the silt left behind, which further adds to the problem. That's how it gets washed into the basin. On the right-hand side, we see a basin drain that is clean and in normal operating condition. We can see it's depressed a little bit below the surface. We can see the leaf strainer placed inside the basin is clear and it's ready to do its job. This is another example of a basin drain on a flat roof that's filled with vegetation and can't drain off the accumulated water. In freezing conditions, this is really destructive and can cause leaks, delamination, water absorption into the foam substrate, and other problems. It's really easy to spot and correct this problem. On the left-hand side, we can see we've got plentiful vegetation here. There's lots of plant growth, lots of dirt, and it's simple to fix. You've got to take a little hand trowel and dig out the dirt and the vegetation and clean it out good and haul it off the roof. Put it in a 5-gallon bucket and haul it out. Last two types of drains we're going to look at are the surface scupper on the left and a downspout on the right. The scupper is less susceptible to blockage, but it can still collect debris and not work. Downspouts and the collection points for them need to be clean. Just check, just like the drains are. Also, don't forget to use safe climbing practices when using ladders or other methods to access the rooftop. Fall protections may be required in some instances. Ask your supervisor or contact us at the Loss Control Department if you're not sure what's needed for fall protection while accessing a roof for inspection. Regular inspections will prevent surprises when it comes to roof maintenance, repair, and replacement. Follow these best practices for the longest roof life. Always keep records of each inspection and use these to develop a preventive maintenance plan if you don't already have one in place. If you'd like help with roof inspection forms, records, or developing a preventative maintenance plan for your district, please reach out to us. We have resources available at no charge that can help with this. I appreciate your interest and I'm glad you watched this short video. Please give it a like and subscribe for more information from the WCSIT and ISDA Loss Control channel. You can also reach out to me directly at my email address shown. I'd love to hear your comments, or you can leave your comments below on the YouTube channel. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you on the job out there. Have a great day.